I mean, I had no plans for that one. Before I could think too much more about him, up came the Chinese man. And the voice said, "Will you forgive him?" Oh, I don't believe it. I suddenly realized that this wasn't just a head trip prayer. This is where the rubber meets the road. I realized that this wasn't Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, sorry kids, but I thought this might be actually real. This wasn't some adult's kind of fantasy land. This actually could be true. The trouble was, these men's faces would not disappear until from my heart I forgave them. I could get no more of the prayer. I lay there and said, "God, if you can forgive me of my sins, I will forgive these men what they've done to me. I will never touch them. I will never lay hands upon them and seek no vengeance." Their faces immediately disappeared as though someone had heard what I said. More words appeared. "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." As I saw those words, I thought, God, I've been doing my own thing for 24 years. Does that mean I have got to literally humble myself and turn over the reins to you? I felt God say yes. I said, "God, I do not know what your will is for me. I know I am not living it at this point in my life, but if I come through this experience, I will sincerely find out what your will is and try and accomplish it all the days of my life." The rest of the prayer came, but they were the three most important aspects of the prayer that I remember. I prayed the whole prayer for the first time in my life and felt an incredible peace inside my heart. Yet I was still dying physically. The ambulance door opened and they raced me into the hospital in a wheelchair. The nurses took my blood pressure and could barely find a pulse. The doctors saw my blood pressure results and saw the condition that I was in and what had happened to me when I explained to them about the jellyfish, and they raced me down a corridor. I was surrounded by doctors and nurses and orderlies, and the old doctor, Indian doctor, crouched in front of me and said, "Son, I do not know if you can hear me or understand me, but I am going to try and save your life. Now try and keep your eyes open." Well, I heard that way back on the road. I am fighting to keep my eyes open. He put a drip feed in. He said, "Drip feed for dehydration." 4 needles went in, antitoxins. He's talking to me. He said, "Come on, son, fight. Antitoxins for the poison." Another nurse was smashing my hand like this and lifting my skin up. And I thought, what's she doing? She smashed it again and lifted my skin up again. A nurse behind her passed the syringe, I think we use on the farm for horses, coming down towards me. I thought, that's what they're doing. They're trying to get a vein. Eventually went in there, stuck it between my second and third finger, and I watched my vein blow up like a bubble as the liquid and fluid went into it. The trouble was it wasn't moving anywhere, but the nurse was so nervous I could see her moving the needle from side to side of my vein, shaking. I thought if she doesn't watch out, she'll tear it open. The doctor nods, a third one goes in, second one goes in, and a third one. My entire vein blows right up past my wrist. This nurse then tries to manually massage it up into my forearm. It seems to be rolling off her thumb and forefinger, and she can't seem to get it to move. I'm sitting there wondering why isn't it moving as the nurse and the doctor are non-verbally trying to communicate what they're going to do next. I thought, it's not moving. Maybe the shock has caused my veins to collapse and they can't seem to get it into my body. Are there any nurses or doctors out here? A few. It's a very terrifying thing when the doctor then turned back to me and said, "Son, I'm afraid that's all we can do for you. Just try and fight to stay alive." With the orderlies, they lifted me up and put me on a bed. I purposed in my heart and mind to keep my eyes open all night, not go to sleep, and fight the poison and break the back of it. I thought, I'm not going to go to sleep, I'm not going to slip into a coma, I'm not going to die. I lay there with all my willpower, all my strength mustered and keeping my eyes open, and perspiration started to pour into my eyes. I thought, where's that coming from? Then I thought, the drip feed's bringing back fluid. Trouble is, it's blurring my vision. I try to speak, "Doctor, please come back and wipe my forehead, I can't see." My lips wouldn't move. The paralysis had set into my jaw. I then tried to lift my right and my left arm up so I could clear my eyes and continue to see. Neither arm would respond to the mental direction I was giving it. I then tried to tilt my head to the right or to the left so that I could at least drain one eye from the perspiration and continue to see, hoping that a doctor would become aware of my predicament and come back. My head wouldn't tilt. I then tried to, with my eyelids, squeeze the perspiration just by squeezing my eyes. As I did that, it helped a bit, but my eyes got heavier and heavier as I lay there. I thought to myself, I'm going to have to take a few minutes break and a few minutes rest, otherwise I can't keep doing this. So I thought I'll take 5 or 10 minutes sleep and then I'll wake up and fight again for my life. I closed my eyes, sighed out a sigh of relief, and felt an incredible release, as though I did not have to fight for my life anymore. The trouble was, I realized that as I closed my eyes and breathed out, life passed from me. And for a period of 15 minutes, from what I can understand, I was pronounced clinically dead. Now in that period of 15 minutes, I'll try and explain what I saw. Because when I came back, I was in a completely different part of the hospital with a white sheet on me. It looked like a morgue or something, or some kind of place. It's certainly not where I went to sleep in. With a doctor treating me like a dead piece of meat, totally oblivious that I was now awake looking at him. And when he actually saw me looking at him, we had an interesting reaction. But we'll get on to that if you just kind of hang in with me. I closed my eyes. Now, it was so sudden, I'd been floating away all the way to the hospital in the ambulance, but I didn't want to float away. You know what I mean? Talk about people floating away. I was hanging on. So when I actually did relax and close my eyes, I was immediately gone. Trouble was, I did not know I was dead. I thought I was alive and was now waking up from sleep. I was not sure how long I'd been asleep for, but now I was awake. The thing that seemed strange to me was that I was standing upright instead of lying down. The other strange thing that occurred to me immediately was that the room was pitch black. My first thought was, why did the idiot doctors turn the lights out? I mean, if you leave a patient and then turn the lights out, that's enough to terrify him if he wakes up. And so I'm thinking, well, okay, maybe my eyes need to get adjusted to the dark. That's the reason why it's so dark here. And so I waited for a few moments to let my eyes get accustomed, and I looked around, 360 degree, I could see no light. Now, even in a dark place, you can normally see some form of light. As a night diver, I'm not afraid of the dark, but I could not see one slither of light in the entire place I was in. I thought, well, don't worry, turn the light switch on. So I put my hand out and my foot out, and I crept out into the dark, trying to find a wall. I thought, if I find a wall, I'll turn a switch on. Being unable to find a wall about 10 feet away, I stopped and thought, well, maybe they've moved me into the general ward. That explains it. I'm walking down the middle of the hospital's general ward. What should I do? Go back to your bed. Yeah, turn the lamp on. Lamps are always next to hospital beds. So I went back towards the hospital bed, so I thought, looking for the lampstand. I thought, I've gone past my bed. You know, I'm groping around and think, I've gone too far. I thought, now you've lost your bed, you fool. So I'm going in front of me and behind me, searching for something like a hospital bed to touch. Anything, any piece of furniture. I can't seem to touch a thing, so I stop and think, it's so dark in here, I can't see my hand in front of my face. So as I thought that thought, I brought my hand up towards my face. It seemed to pass into my face and straight through the other side. And when it's not that dark, you can't see your face. Come on, 2 hands. You can't miss it. I brought it 2 hands up and went straight through my head as though I had no physical head. Impossible. I went for my arm, passed through my arm, through my torso, out the other side. I went, where are my hands? And went straight through both hands. I could not touch one part of my physical form, and you had the total sensation of a human being. In that split second in time, I thought, where on earth am I? As I began to think that, I could feel the most eerie, evil feeling in the dark, as though it wasn't just a physical darkness around me, but I was in a void of spiritual darkness. I had numbers of times in my life felt the presence of evil. Ever felt when you're walking home at night, someone looking at you, but you can't see them?